Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've created this super nude matte eye look with a bronzed sun-kissed skin. If you would like to know how I did it and have a little chat with me, then please keep watching. So to start, I'm going in with my P. Louise base in shade 2. I'm just going to comb up my brows. Just going to clip back my fringe. It's really annoying. So I just get my MAC 252, very loved 252, and I'm just going to carve out the brow. Okay, so once I've got a thin layer of that on, I really like to just use this e.l.f. concealer. This is in the shade Deep Chestnut, and I just get a fluffy brush. I'm just going to dip a little bit into the concealer, and then I just start in the crease, and all this does is just sort of contours the lid and the whole eye socket. And I find the easiest way to sort of completely blend the two together right at the seam. Once you've hardly got anything left in your brush, just sort of sweeping over where you technically don't want the product, and all I'll do is any excesses on the brush, it will just melt the two together. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to use is this MAC Dark Tan Bronzer and a Morphe M514. And I'm just going to start in the socket. And you can be quite messy with this because this is almost like when you set your contour on your cheeks and you go over the cream with a powder. And these shades are really nice as well because they'll tie in with your cheeks. So next I'm going to go in with this James Charles Morphe palette, and they haven't got names on, which is a bit annoying, but I'm just going to go in with mixing 2 brown shades from there. I'm going to start along the lash line. Do circular motions when I get into the outer corner here, and just keeping it really low so that we can still see that transition shade. And then just with nothing on it but the previous product, you're just going to blend, blend, blend. Now I'm going to go back in with the concealer brush that has the P. Louise base on it, and without dipping it into anything new, I'm just going to cover my eyelid. If you watch my last YouTube video, my first one that I made, you'll see that I go over this section with the same technique and the same product, and all it does is just sort of wipes off the eyeshadow for a new canvas, makes it slightly tacky, and then that means the pigment's going to stand out even more. I feel like this is a very sort of UK makeup artist thing to do. You rarely really see it as extreme with like other makeup artists. But it just allows you to have so much more room to do, whether you're doing glitter or a cut crease, or allows you to be more artsy, and it also really opens up. So for those people that've got hooded lids or small eyes, it's really handy to carve yourself a new eyelid. Okay, and then using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, I'm just going to hit Tempera with this flat dense brush, just like a creamy matte shade, and I'm just going to go over the concealer area. So for this I like to sort of hold my eye taut, start at the outer corner with the longest point of the brush facing outwards, and just soft little strokes. Keeping it as thin as you can at this point is going to allow for any mistakes, or if you do want to thicken it up, then you can do. And then in order for me to get the wing right, I sort of tilt my head backwards so I've got no creases, and I'll just really softly So for me, I like to keep the thickness quite thin, if that makes sense. So I like to start super thin I'm now going to go in with Glamify Beauty in GB18. Nice and fluffy, a little bit winged out, which is my fave. And then I just hold sort of half of the lash on the outer corner. Look down into mirror. Place on really lightly. Get the outer corner secure. And then I like to swap hands so it's not in the way. Pinch the inner corner. And just push it against the skin. Moving on to skin. I'm going to go for this extra glow with the NYX Bear With Me. I'm just going to add it in the areas I always want highlighted because the skin food that I've got on is so nourishing that I'll probably get quite a bit of a glow through the foundation from that. So I'm going to start with Studio Fix in NC35. So I'm just pushing this in with a wet beauty blender. This one's from Miss Flawless Cosmetics. And then I'm just going to go over the top with a little bit of Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk just to give it that finish that I like. I always mix foundations. Like the Giorgio Armani, I love the finish of, but I just don't think the staying power is great, and I do use like half a bottle if I'm building it up to the coverage that I also like. Okay, so now that's on, I'm gonna go in with, I don't think I'm ever gonna change this combination up, to be honest with you, but I'm gonna go in with Tarte Concealer. I want quite a bright under eye, so I'm just gonna use the light sand shade. I'm now going to go in with this Bobbi Brown foundation stick in the shade Golden. And I know it's not a contour shade, but I'm just going to sort of use it in the areas that I want to bronze. Using my Miss Flawless brush. This is pretty much identical to the shade Dark Tan, which is the bronzer that we use in the crease from MAC. I'm just going over everything with my sponge. I'm going to go in with my NARS Torrid Liquid Blush. Obsessed with it. Okay, to set the under eye, I'm going to use the Huda Beauty powder in the shade Pound Cake. This is quite a heavy powder, as in it's not as finely milled as the likes of Laura Mercier. That's more probably because it does have a shade to it. But it's still really smoothing. I just don't like to bake with it because it's, you can like feel it underneath your eyes, if that makes sense. It's nice to brighten, so I add quite a bit in the inner corner. Okay, to set my cream bronzer, I'm just going to use the same Dark Tan and just dust it over. And then for blush, I'm going to top it with this Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic. I love that little product name. This is in the shade Ecstasy. I also want to try out this Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand over the top of a little bit of powder and just see how blendable it is. A Real Techniques brush in 421. Obviously I've not got loads of powder on, I've just sort of dusted it underneath the eye, but there is powder in this section. Ooh. I'm a fan. Ooh. I like it. I actually don't think I'm going to go over the top of that with anything. Like, that is more than enough. I love that. What shade is this? Spotlight. And that, I feel like that's what it is. So I'm using Teddy by MAC. So I'm just going to go in my detail shader and Cypress Umber from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And then with the pencil brush, I'm just going to go in with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Tan. So it looks smaller than this eye, but it's a lot more oomph. Okay, and then to finish, I'm going to go nude on the lips. So I'm going to use Cork liner. Looks super dark, I know. I just like to run my finger along it. I do not suit dark lipstick ever. And then I'm going to go in with Myth from MAC. Practically foundation lips, but trust the process. This is just a tiny bit of Stockholm from NYX. Just add some peach in there. And then I'm just going to go over the top with Seduction from Charlotte Tilbury. And I'm also just going to get my beauty blender and just go in the Laura Mercier and just set the apples of the cheeks just there. Just so we don't get this triangle here. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Please spread the love, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and please let me know if you come from Instagram or if you're just a YouTube watcher, and yeah, I'd love to know where you're from. See you soon, guys.